yesterday we had a huge response from all of you about the question of who will be the next first-time major champion. And after we got done, I'll give you just an example of some of the things that came through. This is a note that came through to me. This was from Norm. He said, just a note to pass along to Dom. Sam Burns has played in 14 majors, made the cut in just 8, and his best finish is a tie for 20th. Not a promising look for his pick for the next guy to break through. And he did a little emoji with the wink. So with that, Dominic, with the response that we've had, and I don't actually think Sam Burns was all that bad a pick because he's, 8th in putting, if I remember correctly. Where do you stand right now? How restless a night was it when you heard back from all the people?
It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. And it got me thinking about how exciting this topic is. And so I got a bunch of graphics, and I got a lot of thoughts, and I want your thoughts, and we're going to discuss this. I know we got an amazing guest coming up who can probably help answer some of our questions. But for now, let's speculate. Andrew, put the first graphic up. So what I did is I put together a pretty heavy-duty list. All right? This is the first graphic. We're going to have a second graphic with an additional 8. Matt, when you look at this list, what do you think?
Well, based on what you said yesterday, right, the question was yesterday, if I remember correctly, it was, who do you think is going to be the next first-time winner of a major? And you had Xander, you had Patrick Cantlay, and you had Max Homa, then you had an other, if I remember correctly. And then you had a write-in, and everyone was writing in for Victor Hovland at a high percentage. Is my recollection correct on all of that?
Yes, it is.
All right.
That's correct.
And so,
then you and I made picks, our own picks. We threw out some. Now, I had not done my typical full-blown producer research. So I selected Sam Burns, and we put this up on the screen that Andrew and I had collected yesterday before the show. And here are my thoughts about why. And I really think he's the next guy. And here's why I think that. And then I went through it all. I spent some time. We collected some data. And today's question of the day is, Dom has changed his pick. Would you like to change yours? So I have changed my pick, Matt. And this is my new pick,
Are you
Tom
kidding
Kim.
me?
I've changed my pick. Here's the new pick, all right? Let me read what you see on the screen, okay? It's bananas. Tom Kim is still only 21 years old. He already has 12 professional wins. Already. 3 of those are on the PGA Tour. Big boy stuff. He won when he was on the Asian Tour at only 17. He's still inside the top 20 in the world. Also, last year, 2023, was his first full season on the PGA Tour. 27 starts. In his first full season, essentially at 20 years old, he made 22 of 27 cuts and was 19th on tour in strokes gained total. And you can see there at the bottom, he's got a little bit of team experience. Additionally, he had 2 top 10s in majors last year. Tied for 8th at the U.S. Open, tied for 2nd at the Open Championship. I changed my pick.
Would you put Dominic back up on that split screen so we can go through the reality of what take place here? So not only are you telling us that you changed your pick.
I take a sip of this when I'm not on camera, and now you put me on camera.
Right, but not only are you telling us that you changed your pick, but you've cast yourself as a victim of circumstance in terms of how you chose Sam Burns to begin with, and now with a much more sober mind, you're saying you've decided that it's going to be Tom Kim.
Yeah, well, that's just my pick.
Hold on a second.
But Andrew, put the second page
Sam
up.
Burns is online too. Could you put Sam Burns on it, Dom, please?
There you go. So here's another collection of 8 guys. We've given you their age. Also interesting and important to note, when we write professional wins, that is not PGA Tour wins. Because a lot of these guys have won on the Korn Ferry Tour. In the case of Joaquin Niemann, he's won on the Live Tour. Some of these guys have won on tours all over the world. So I think a professional win is a professional win, and there's tremendous value in that. And so that's why I just listed it as professional wins. And then we have, obviously, of course, the top 10s that they've had in major championships and how they've done in majors. Now, there's a couple things I want to note, Matt, that I just want to point out to you that surprised me when I was going through them. The first is on the page you're looking at. Of the 16 guys that I went through, because the previous graphic and this graphic, Ricky Fowler is the oldest of the group. That surprised the hell out of me. I thought it would be Tommy Fleetwood. I thought Tommy Fleetwood was old. I knew Max Homa was in his mid-30s. You know, I know Terrell Hatton was old. Not old. It's all relative, obviously. But I did not think Ricky Fowler was the oldest. Also, interesting to note, you can see there next to Ricky Fowler's name, he has the most top 10s in major championships out of the entire group. Also something that I didn't expect. That surprised me. And now, Andrew, go to the other one. Switch back to the other graphic. On this graphic, Matt, first of all, you can see why I picked Tom Kim, right? He's got the most wins, most professional wins of everybody in the group. He's also the youngest of the entire group. I thought it might be Ludwig, or I was like, I feel like Victor Hovland's still pretty young, but these guys are mostly in their mid-20s. Tom Kim is 21 years old. Additionally, with Ludwig, look at this. 0 starts in majors.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing in the Masters coming up. That will actually be his first major start. It's interesting that he's on this list. Only 24. He's number 11 in the world. He's never even played in a major. But somehow we have him on this list. And I think he belongs on this list as a potential major champion this year. And then, so, Andrew, go to camera 2 with Matt and bring in the other graphic that I was telling you about. With the, yeah, that's the one. I put this list together, Matt, and I'm curious what you think about this list. And I think our next guest is going to be a great guy to answer this list. There are your qualities. That's what's required to win a major. Read those off and tell me if you agree.
If for those on the radio side, mental strength, clutch factor, putting prowess, I know those two are very closely aligned, ball striking, distance, and recent form. Now, the only thing, the one change that I would make would be total distance versus just distance, just raw distance. There are majors, like what we saw with Bryson do at Winged Foot. There are times that you can overcome a golf course with distance, but it's rare, particularly in a major. By the way, as this conversation goes, one of my brothers, my brother Bob, just wrote in and he said, Cameron Young for him, then Victor. So the conversation is going on in all quarters everywhere. The only thing I could say to Cameron Young was I was with Cameron Young. I was doing the on-course play-by-play for the World Radio last year at the Open. And I was with him for his final 36 holes. And with all due respect to Brian Harman, who won because he did what he had to do, Cameron Young should have won that event by multiple strokes. You could make an argument as high as like 10 strokes. He had so many birdie opportunities, he couldn't get the ball in the hole. He was just snake bit that week. So for Cameron Young, for me personally, I just need to see more performance on the greens in these crucial situations such as major championships. All right, but let's go back to Dom's recasting of reality here. And let's talk about Tom Kim for a second, right? Go ahead, throw that graphic you have up there, Andrew, about Tom Kim and where he stands. We heard all the PR that Dom's throwing in, 21 years old, 12 pro wins. Yeah, I mean, I like Tom Kim. I'm just what I'm saying is this, and this is what you did yesterday when you were promoting Sam Burns, and I don't know who you're going to promote tomorrow, because when you tell us that Tom Kim was 19th in strokes gained putting in 2023, that's great. That was a great performance in 2023, but then you just showed us a chart you put together on current form. Tom Kim, current form, strokes gained total, is 99th.
Matt, there's been like 3 tournaments.
No disrespect. The tournaments? All right, let's go down that road. Tom Kim, Century, tied for 45th. American Express, cut. AT&T Pebble Beach, Pro-Am, tied for 31st. Waste Management, WM, not Waste Management, WM Phoenix Open, put a quarter in the jar. Tied for 17th. Genesis Invitational, tied for 24th. Trending? Maybe? Strokes gained total, 99. Strokes gained off the tee, 96. Strokes gained putting, critical at Augusta National. He's 155th, Dom. Driving distance, he's 106th. Driving accuracy, he's 86th. So not only is he right now short by comparison to his peers, but he's crooked. And when he gets it on the green, he's not even close to average in making a putt.
I
His
feel
club
like
head speed,
you're
he's ranked
making it your
150th.
job just to trash my pick.
No. What I'm waiting for is...
This is not what this is about.
No. What I'm waiting for is, when are you going to cast yourself as a victim now and go, you know what? I made a mistake. I looked at last year's numbers.
Oh, come on.
So you're
NBTC
resolute, Tom
writes, Sam Burns should be high on this list.
Yes.
Ted says, Kim is possible. Tom Kim is possible. John says,
he is.
Hovland needs to get his game going quick if he's going to grab a major this year.
All right, let me
Sepp
see what...
Straka is a sleeper, they write. Andrew, is Sepp on this list? Is he on the second page?
Yeah, he's on the second page, lower left.
Yeah, put it up there, Andrew. He's 30. He's got 3 wins and 2 major top 10s, for whatever that's worth. I also
Now, look,
have
the next
I'll get my sheet of paper
major...
out. I have some honorable mentions. Andrew, put the honorable mentions up there. Kurt Kitayama. These guys didn't make the list, but they're like just barely off the list.
Okay.
Kurt Kitayama, Emiliano Grillo, Sahith Theegala, Adrian Marunk, Min-Woo Lee, which I like that, by the way. I like that Min-Woo Lee option.
Lee, too.
And then Taylor Gooch. And you can see there, this is a totally separate discussion, but you can see next to Taylor Gooch, it says 449. That is his current world ranking.
Yeah, which means you got to straighten out.
I got to be honest, that makes no sense. So,
yeah.
It's clearly not correct, but...
Yeah, that's got to get worked out too. All right, so because the Masters obviously is our next major, and everybody's going crazy about Hovland. Let me see where Hovland is. With Victor, it's a really small sample, but I'm going to say right now, currently, because the fact that the PGA Tour season starts in January again, strokes gained tee to green, Victor Hovland is 132nd ranked on tour. Strokes gain approach to green, 144. Strokes gain around the green. We're talking about the first major at Augusta National. Note, he's 167th. Total driving, 91st. Driving distance is good, 47th. Driving accuracy is 140th. So, I do believe that Victor Hovland has what it takes. But right now, his form is not the best. So Dom kept asking me, before we went on the air, he asked me 100 times, are you going to change your pick? And I said, Dom, here's the way I did it yesterday. You told us that you had essentially 4 guys, because I went to him and said, what's your question of the day? And he said, who's going to be the next first-time winner of major, right? And again, Xander, Cantlay, Homa, telling me the right-in was Victor Hovland. So I stayed away from those 4 because I thought that was the rules.
Yeah, but I'm the producer.
No.
I make the rules. I also change the rules.
Yes, on the fly. So
to my benefit.
I picked Joaquin Niemann, and I did it because of current form. His last 6 starts, either 3rd, 30th, a win, 4th, wins at the Australian Open, 5th at the Australian PGA. He's got current form. He's only 25 years old. Right? So I'm going to stay with Joaquin because he was my pick. If I thought, depending on Dom's moving target of rules, that I could pick anybody, I would have picked Xander Schauffele as the pick.
Andrew,
all right, so Dom,
the first one. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, he's putting up the chart. I mean, it's all good. All right, so here's the thing. Given this conversation, given the reaction, and given the public scoring that you were subject to, what is today's question of the day? Where did you go?
Today's question is, Dom has changed his pick for the next first-time major winner. Would you like to change yours?
You've got to be kidding me.
And right now, it's 90% no. And if you recall, yesterday, a majority of the people said the next first-time major winner would be Victor Hovland.
Right.
Now, Andrew, put that list of the qualities of what it takes to win your first major back up on the screen. Because, Matt, our next guest coming up is going to be able to answer this question for you. All these questions will be answered for you by our next guest. And I love the idea of going down the road of what does it take to get over that hump? And is there value in showing up big time at a Ryder Cup like Max Homa, right? So Max Homa maybe doesn't have 10 years of playing a major championship experience, but showing up big time at a major under that at a Ryder Cup under that crucible, Is that what it takes? Is that what you need to cross over?
All right,
There's a lot of layers
we'll
to
go
this.
down that list with our very next guest. Now, I will say this. If we're going to talk about current form and we're going to talk about attributes for Augusta National, I'll throw a couple names at you that I don't think's on any of the lists so far. Recently a winner on the PGA Tour, Matthew Pavone, is number 3 in strokes gained putting. Other highly ranked players in strokes gained putting that are showing good form flashes: Justin Suh and Eric Cole. A couple more names just to throw into the mix. I'm sure this is a conversation that we can continue for some time as we march closer and closer to the first major of the year on the men's side of the game. How did you like that the first thing that Mark Calcavecchia says is, yeah, Eric Cole is a really good pick? He didn't even call it a sleeper pick. He was just like, yeah, that's a really good pick right there.
So some of the stuff coming in, I forgot about Aberg.
No comment?
Auberg. I always say it wrong. How do you say it? You seem to know how to say it. Auberg?
Well, that's because Daniel Chopra, who's Swedish, I can't say it the way he says it, but Ludwig told everybody, because the pronunciations were just brutal, he just said, just call it me Oberg. But Daniel told me that the correct way, there's a word for you,
corrector.
The correct way is to say Auberg. So it's like almost like an AU, Auberg.
So Auberg. I forgot Auberg, Michael says. He'll win one before too long. After watching Burns on day 1 at the Ryder Cup, I'm not so sure about that. Hovland isn't playing strong right now. These are folks commenting on our topic, which you can see right there that we've been talking about. We only have about 2 minutes left. I would love to. Zalatoris has best majors form over the last few years, but he has been struggling with that injury. And remember, he's sort of changed his putting style, although he's kind of started playing again, which is great.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
Cantlay must be due, they say. Neiman, someone writes in Neiman. There's a lot of people talking about Hovland here. So with about 90 seconds left, Matt, Andrew, can you put up the what it takes to win a major graphic? The little floater that we had. So what I took away from Calc, and I know we only have about a minute left, but what I took away from Calc when I looked at that is it seemed to me that he was kind of intimating that first thing on that list, mental strength, is the just full stop separator in major championships. So with only a minute left, Matt, I would ask of you, of the names that we went through, do you think you could identify who you believe has the best mental strength of the group?
All right, so pull up the first graphic, if you would, Andrew. We'll go graphic 1, graphic 2 in the seconds we have left. And Dom, in my earpiece, you keep me honest on the time. On this page, in terms of mental strength, I like Victor Hovland. I like Max Homa. I like Ludwig, but he's young. Terrell Hatton can come from behind. Page 2. Again, I like Sam Burns because he's doing great in putting. Outside of that, I'm going to go Zalatoris. But if I'm going to go dark horses, I'm going to say Siwoo Kim and Eric Cole going into the first major.